In this AI Studio tutorial, we're going to be going over everything you need to know about AI Studio to become zero to a pro, but we're also going to be showing you how I made a video game, made music, and an image of Goku. Check it out.
Oh snap! And they got it pretty good too. It almost looks more like so. I think that's really cool, and a lot of people don't talk about it, but you can definitely have come back with. You see me creeping up on him, kick, oh punch, kick him, and it's such a low blow. Look where I'm kicking him at. I know he's gonna feel this tomorrow. Craziness. Going over how you can access Google's AI Studio. You can do anything from just have a casual conversation with AI to make full-blown games, to make music, or even generate images all within AI Studio. Without further ado, let's get right into the video. Starting off, you'll be landing on AI Studio here, the first tab. Before we actually start chatting with the AI, let's go ahead and show you around and do all the pre-steps so to make sure that you're getting the correct outputs that you want. Starting off at the top right here, you see that you have the system instructions. And this one is, well, what you would have ChatGPT filter your inputs by. So let's say I wanted to be able to give me advice on how to make money. So I'm gonna say this person knows everything about making money. And so from this example, this is what all my prompts that I type in here, it'll go through this filtering process to make sure that it's on task as the overarching goal. And so you can just go ahead and just type in whatever you want. Let's say you want to do some type of marketing and you want the system prompt to be able to act as a marketing guru, or maybe you want somebody to be more detailed about what you're trying to do. Maybe you want to have it act like a doctor, or you want it to be more so in a particular niche, right? That's what you use the system prompts for. But you can also use this, which is a Get SDK, or this would give you the SDK, which is basically like the code that you would need in order to use Gemini on your own in the code form, using it through the API. And so it'll show you the code. And so they have it actually available in REST, Python, TypeScript, JavaScript, Kotlin, Swift, Dart, and Web, which is a lot of different platforms. As well as they have this prompt history on, which we'll talk about a little later. As well as you can open this up in Colab or just copy the code that you want, or you can just look into the API docs to see what all you can do within the SDK. As well as you can share what kind of prompts that you have created. You can also save your prompts here. If you have a prompt that you created, you can save it, as well as you can compare different models. So clicking on this, you can you can compare the model from, maybe say we saw that Gemini 2.5 Pro preview had got an update. You see they have the O5 version. I want to compare this one against, let's say I want to compare against the O5, O6. So this month versus last month's model. You can actually do that using the compare functionality right there. As well as if you have so many conversations with Gemini and the different models, you're like, I just want to clear the chat, start fresh. You can do that using this clear chat button. As well as you can view a little bit more options where you can copy and also just delete prompt that you're using right now. That's not all. Before you actually get to using the actual AI, what you would want to do is go ahead and select the models, the temperature, the thinking, and all the other settings here before you actually do it so you get the correct output. By the way, I am trying to grow this channel, so it will definitely help me if you drop a like, comment, and mainly subscribe to help me grow the channel so we can keep up with the latest and greatest AI news, as well as I can drop more tutorials. But back to this. Starting out with the drop down here, we have this drop down where it gives you all the different type of models that's available in the AI Studio that Google provides. It starts off with the most recent ones, which is the Gemini 2.5 models. And you see they have the 2.5 preview as well as the Flash preview models. And you see that the newer ones are tagged with the new tag in the blue, where you see one with Flash and the 2.5 Pro model with the 0605, which is the newest one that they have. Also, they have this pop-up over here where you see they have the Gemini 2.5 Pro preview, but also gives you different types of information that you may want to know. Let's just say if you're like a developer or just somebody who's curious about integrating AI into your system, you have these things like the input output API pricing. And so they said the API pricing is per million tokens, and so you see that the input price per million tokens is about $1.25 and the output is $10. And so you see that they even gave you what is this best for. So 2.5 Pro is best for coding, reasoning, multimodal understanding, as well as they give you a few different use cases to go over, reason over complex problems, tackling difficult code, math, and STEM problems, as well as they have like a knowledge cutoff as far as how long has it been training, and the rate limits and the latency as far as how long you'll wait to get a response. And they do that for every one. So that's the more recent 2.5 Pro, but this is the one that was previous, and you could tell there's maybe slight differences between what it can do, or actually, in this case, I think it's they're the exact same because they're a month apart, and Google already gave you a breakdown of what is good for and what is best for in their release. They also have the Flash models where you see there's like they're a month apart here as well, but you can definitely tell the difference between the Flash model and the preview models when you see like the price differences, where the cost is a $3 max, but you see the input is a few cents. So let's say you're a person trying to integrate AI into your system, you can look at these different models and see what's best for you, because now you have best for large language processing, low latency, use cases, reason over complex problems for the Pro, but then you have for the Flash model, you have similar thing, but cost is a lot cheaper and maybe better for you. But in a nutshell, Flash is faster, is really good, and is really smart. But Pro is the strongest. So if you want more complex, if you're code heavy, that's what you want to do. But you also have Gemini 2.0, where it has the Flash one, and also has the Flash Preview Image Generator, where it even has this hot tag here, where what makes this different from the other ones, even the 2.5 Pro ones, is that you're able to generate images using 2.0 Flash Preview Image Generator, which is pretty cool. And then you have the Flash Lite, which is Flash is already a lighter version, but in a faster version, but they also have a light version where it's lighter weight than the other one. So even though 2.5 Pro and 2.5 Flash is out, you may want to have considerations as far as the cost goes when it comes to that. Because you see with the 2.0 flashlight model, it's literally like 30 cents output and not even really a cent for the input cost. But you have to take into account how good it actually is for your whatever use case you may want to use it for. As well as they have Gemini 1.5 and they have the Pro Flash and just the different informations there. They also have the Gemma model, which is the Gemma models are their super lightweight models, and these are more so designed to be on laptops, even cell phones. They said that this could be running on. As you see, the latest one is the Gemma 3N as a recording, and it just gives you different information. As of now, it says the input and output cost is 0 for using Gemma, so it may be something that could be taken advantage of if you want to use Gemma on your phone, laptop, or tablet because it's free of use right now. So for the testing, of course, we're going to use Gemini 2.5 Pro. And what we see down here is that the token count. That's how many tokens that has been used throughout your chat, as well as temperature, which is how creative it is. So if you wanted to be more creative or follow your prompts more, you would move this up and down. As well as you have the thinking, which is allowing you to have it think. So if you want to think longer and reason over things a little bit longer, you can disable it or enable it. In this case, we can't do it, at least not for the most recent 2.5 Pro. You also can set a thinking budget. So if you wanted to put a value on how long, cap of how much it can actually consume while thinking, you have things like structure output, where it generates code or a response in a structured way. And so this is where you would go, clicking the edit button on how you would have the structured output. You also have code execution. So if you want these AI models to be able to spit out code or use code and execute code, you'll be able to check this out. As well as if you want to do function calling. So if you have already methods or functions that you want that these models can use within their own code, that's where you would come here is for their function calling. So this is where you would go, pop up with the editor, and you would like paste in the function or whatever you may want to use in order for it to be able to call the functions. As well as this is a new one where it's the grounding with Google Search, which lets you use Google Search while it's actually responding and giving you information. And it's kind of more so getting like be like the latest information because it's Google, of course. And then also you can do URL context where you can browse through a URL. So it's actually really good depending on what your task is. And it's important to know each and every one. And later on, we'll be able to make images with even play around with different musics and different genres when it comes to music. It's gonna be really cool. As well as you can even use Google Veil later on. And so it'll tell you this is a maximum output length, as well as the key score, which is the probability threshold, sampling, which is super detailed. But anyway, most of these things are just different type of settings for the model that you're choosing to make sure you're tuning it correctly for whatever your needs are. Also, a good one is the safety setting. If you come into the safety, of course, I have all my safety off. I'm going raw with all of this stuff. And basically, you can come in here to see how much you're allowed for tolerance for harassment, hate, sexually explicit, dangerous content. If you have some type of low tolerance for that stuff, you should crank that stuff up. But for me, I'm going wild. I'm going raw with a lot of this stuff because I think that will give you the best testing when you come to these models. And that's pretty much why I use AI Studios 4 is for the testing. Now that you have all the different type of settings set, you can come in here and well, what you see is you have the prompt and now you'll be able to prompt with the AI model or you can come in and as you saw my system prompt was knows everything about making money. I'm gonna ask how can I get rich, right? Which is what we all are trying to do. I'm trying to make bread. You're trying to make bread. We all trying to make some money. And if you want to put this in here, you can click run and it'll run it. But before that, I do want to point out these different things that you can upload along with the text that you're putting in to give the model additional information. So if you wanted to give the model some type of document or file, you can do it from OneDrive. You can do it from your files from your computer. I have some demo videos. If I wanted to drop a file or even a videos in here, I could. If I want to record some audio, like I say, I wanted to maybe speak to it instead of typing. Maybe I have some type of hand issue, or it's just easier to get my thoughts out verbally versus getting my thoughts out over text. You can. You also have a camera option where it'll open up your camera and it'll show you and you'll be able to interact or show things on your camera and maybe even take pictures of it with your camera so that it can get information if you want to add that to the prompt. Let's say you're out in the wild and you want to see what this plant is called, it'll give you that information. You can also do a YouTube video. Well, if you want to input the YouTube URL, you could put it here, and then you can put the start time and end time of maybe a certain section, as well as the frames per second that you want a model to analyze the video of. So if you want like a generalized an overview of the video, you may not have to be as detailed, but if you want it more detailed, you're gonna have to have it go frame by frame. And it'll definitely help knowing the frames that it has because sometimes it's like 30 frames per second. Sometimes it's 60 frames per second. So the more frames you give it, or basically the pictures that you're wanting to look at, better. Before I put that prompt in, I did also want to show you that it does have some things down here where there's other places that it'll you navigate to. They have, we're going to get into later on, where's the native image generator, as well as the native speech generator, or the freaking live audio section, even like develop apps where you'll be able to build with the Gemini. Ask Gemini, how do I get rich? They see Gemini is thinking, and then it does give a response, and then it lets you then give whatever information and answer to your question. And this is the latest one, and so it actually is formatting it pretty good, where it tells you paths of wealth, the foundational principles, and the three main roads to riches, as well as a whole kind of even give you links here on where to go and how to get to the money, which isn't not a bad thing. Gemini can help you get rich, and it'll tell you exactly where to go to get it. That's all for that main section here. Now we're going to go to the stream. The stream is where if you want to talk to Gemini in real time to some extent. and have it like, talk back to you based off whatever question you ask it or image you show it, which I actually like this a lot. But before we get to here, you see that we have some models over here. They have some settings here. And so one of the things you gotta see is that they only have flash models because the flash models are what they use for the real-time live talking to a model. You don't get the 2.5 Pros, which are heavier models when you're getting Gemini. You're getting the flash models, which is not a bad thing. Gemini Flash is really good and it's already pretty much second to Gemini Pro. So it's a really good model and they keep updating it. And so in this example, you can also use a voice. You can choose a voice, whatever one you like.
Ready to build something awesome today?
Got a project in mind?
What do you want to explore?
Ready to make something amazing?
What sparks your interest?
You can use whatever voice comes to mind that you actually like to hear. So it's based off your preference. And then you have the media resolution where it's token size image. And it's like the media size. So you say you want 6 tokens per image or 258 tokens per image. But we're not going to be doing images quite yet. We're just going to be talking to Gemini. So we don't have to worry about this right now. If you want to do the turn coverage, this lets Gemini send audio and video when speech is not detected. So it's Gemini take over to be like they're not talking. I can then process or do whatever I need to do. As well as if you want to have like the dialogue, which lets Gemini adapt its response style to the input, expression, and tone. So if you're talking to Gemini kind of rough, or you seem like you're down, Gemini can adjust, oh, this person's kind of down, not really do too much. You know what I'm saying? Which is pretty cool. They also have a proactive audio. This feature enables the model to choose to not respond to audio that's not relevant to the ongoing conversation. So that includes background noises and fans. So it's not going to be pausing every single time, as well as just people are talking in the background, but it's not relevant to what's going on. They also have different session context. So it's like how long can a conversation go? How many tokens can it consume in a single conversation? Also, what's the context size that it's going to remember while talking to you? So these are two pretty important things. So how long is the conversation, and when it's talking to you, how far back does it remember? Also has a function calling thing we talked about earlier, automatic function response and grounding using Google search, what we talked about earlier. Let's get right into it. Let's set some system instructions here. Make me happy. Cheer me up. Hype me up. Hype me up. Hype me up.
All right, let's do this. How about we start with a cheesy joke? Why did the bicycle fall over? Because it was too tired. Get it? Or how about thinking about something small that made you smile today? Sometimes focusing on those little moments can really boost your mood. And hey, if you want to talk about something that's making you feel down, I'm here to listen.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That was 24 seconds of audio that you just heard. And I think she liked me. She was kind of like really anti your boy. No diddy. But it's just the AI. But the voice was very realistic, even how I read that stuff to us. And if you want to reset this thing, you can always reset your browser, but I just go to the chat and then come over here. Because that was just like one mode when you send it a message, then it'll respond back to you with audio. But you can also talk to it if you want to. And you can just say, hello, how you doing? And it will see what it says.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's almost afternoon. We're making a video about YouTube showing off how to use Gemini. So tell me, what do you think about AI Studio and how many people should be using it?
AI Studio is a fantastic platform for developing and exploring AI models. I think it can be really valuable for a lot of people, from developers and researchers to even those just curious about AI. It makes it more accessible to experiment with different capabilities and build some really interesting things. I'd say anyone interested in AI should definitely give it a try.
Well, this is Dex's AI Lab YouTube channel. So tell the people to go ahead and subscribe to Dex AI Lab.
Hey everyone, you're watching Dex's AI Lab on YouTube. If you're interested in learning more about AI, exploring different models, and seeing how these technologies work, make sure to subscribe to the channel. You'll find some great content here about AI Studio and other exciting topics. Don't miss out.
You see, I click the stop button over here, and you can choose whatever voice you want to talk to based off whichever you clicked over there. You can do this yourself, so you can actually talk to it. You can also share your screen if you want to, and you can have a conversation about whatever's on your screen that you may want to talk to it about. You can also do a webcam if you want to here, and it'll look at your webcam. If you're on your phone, it'll look at your actual phone's camera and then you can show it around and see. You can show it what you're looking at, and then it can respond with whatever you ask it. That part, and you can also. That's all for the stream real time, which is really powerful. I use it all the time. It can even help you. Let's say if you're doing like coding practices or you're trying to pass these coding interviews, you can just share your screen with Gemini and just have it look over your shoulder and help you out when it comes to answering questions and being a real good, pretty much sidekick when you're trying to answer these questions. As well as you can ask about real time questions. I've been in the grocery store and use the webcam functionality, but it's natively in the app to ask, hey, this cut of meat, is it good? Does it look good? What is it good for and whatnot? So I think that's really cool. That's all for the streaming real time. Now we're about to get to the generative media, which is really cool if you ask me. The generative media is basically where the magic happens, I think. This is where you can freaking generate images, videos, and music. So right here, this is Gemini image generation, where you click here. And what we see is that it takes you to a normal prompt, basically back to the chat prompt, but it automatically selected Gemini 2.0 Flash Preview here, or if you want to create your own image. So let's just say I want to make, let me see if they know shorthand, SSJ3 Goku. You already know, Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Let's see if they can create an image of Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Let's see. Oh snap! And they got it pretty good too. It almost looks more like Super Saiyan 4 Goku with Super Saiyan hair instead of the red. Looks like yellow gold hair. Anyway, you can do stuff like with the generative media tab, but it defaulted here, and we already went over the settings. So going back to the creative media, the generative media tab, so you can do that. You can also do Gemini speech generation. So let's say you had a project and you want to make a talking teddy bear. You can come here and like, you can have AI read out, and we're using Gemini 2.5 Flash, as you see over here. You can do a single speaker, or you can do two speakers, which they default to two speakers. And then you can do the model settings as far as the temperature. But down here, what's different here is that you can have the speakers and you can set whichever one.
Got a project in mind?
Ready to build something awesome?
You can set their audio and who you want to speak for each speaker. And the colors, we see speakers settings. There's another one over here that says speaker one, and then there's one over here that says speaker two. And it corresponds to the names. But you can always change the names as you see with the cursor. I can come in and change the names, and I can come in and change the voices of the speakers if I want to. But before you have the speakers, you want to set the system instructions where it already has the system instructions out here that says read out loud in a warm, welcoming tone, which I think you want your AI to sound warm and welcoming. As well as they have the raw output here, where basically what you're putting over here, this is what it will look like as a raw output. And this is good for if you want to go ahead and know how it'll look inside of your code base, because it's not going to be as interactive if you open this up in VS Code or whatever. So I'm adding one more dialogue here, and then you can click the run button at the bottom. So it will go ahead and generate the audio that you want it to have.
Hello! We're excited to show you our native speech capabilities.
Where you can direct a voice, create realistic dialogue, and so much more. Edit these placeholders to get started.
Don't forget to subscribe to Dex AI Lab.
It's pretty good. They're very expressive and they're very natural sounding. But you see that I added, don't forget to subscribe to Dex AI Lab, which you should definitely subscribe. But it has a speaker one here, as well as it has a text that I put over here. So that's what it will look like in the code. Going back to the generative media tab, there's other things you can do. You can do imaging, you can do Veo in Lyra real time. As of now, this is Imagen 3. Once I click into it, we're on Imagen 4 right now, but what's cool about this is you have a little bit more control. It's definitely more you can get out of Imagen 3 here, because you can do as many outputs as you want, different type of ratio or image that you want to make. Let's do one. Let's see if we can get a Gojo. See if they understand Gojo and JJK. 16 by 9. So this looks more like, what's the anime called? Not Bobobo. What is it? JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. They don't know what, they may know what Gojo is if you use a real Jujutsu Kaisen, you spell all the way out, they may have it, but you can see that they know what DBZ is, and they know what JoJo Bizarre Adventure is. And you can also come to Veil too and create an image here or a video here. You can upload an image that you whatever you want to. If you want like a starting frame, you want to animate that, and then you just give it instructions. As well over here, you see it only has Veil 2. We're on Veil 3, but it's not available in AI Studio. Of course, as more models come out, the older ones are usually going to be housed here. And you can see how many image or video you want to be outputted, as well as the ratio. There's also the durations here from the 5, 6 second, 7, all the way up to 8. Then you can do the frame rate and the resolution, but it says it's coming soon, so that's not even out yet. They're just prepping it. Then you also have the negative prompts, so whatever you don't want in the image, you can have there. That's not all for the generative media. You can also do things like Lyra, where you can make your own music. I'm gonna let it start up. We're doing the little MIDI, where you see they have different type of knobs where you can add in your own music. So we can go ahead and press play and see what it does. So I think that's really cool, and a lot of people don't talk about it, but you can definitely have your own little music session within AI Studio using Lyra, which is their AI music generator. And you can copy the app. You can also download the app or deploy this to the cloud or share it at the top right, or you can use a API key to select the cloud that you want. Also over here where it has the show code assistant, and you can also do the show code editor because this is using the Lyra, but it's also generated using code to make the UI and everything. Where you see like the colors and everything. But I'm not gonna go too much into that right now because I don't want this to be too code heavy. That's how you can use Lyra right inside of AI Studio. They have some other examples here where like if you want to do like cooking, they have some already pre-made prompts here and even with the MIDI down here. But it's also pretty cool what you can do inside AI Studio is you can go to the Build tab. And the Build tab is where if you want to use AI to code and really make apps or demo or play with apps within AI Studio. And right now you can do different things, but it also has the files where you can upload an image or a PDF, which may help with telling AI what you want to make in general. So let's say you want to have a template, you can start with a template. And here are the templates that they have. Let's say if you want to start with a fresh app with nothing cluttered up in there, you just want to start digging in with by yourself, solo dolo. And then you can also do a prompt where you can prompt Gemini and for a simple example. So it'll be able to, well, create an app for you. You can go create a live agent using bidirectional streams, a chat example, count tokens, embeddings, streaming app like a real-time response app like we just did. I was talking to them, and it says stream responses containing both images and text. Code execution, let Gemini execute Python code in Sandbox, which is cool. Function calling, which is provide Gemini with functions that it can use to create responses, as well as React examples. OpenAI SDK compatibility. Access Gemini's models with the OpenAI SDK, which sounds cool. I might have to play around with that. Also, they have some prompts at the top for you to click. Let's say you want to make a dynamic text game using Gemini. Imagen, it'll already pre-fill out the prompt for you, as well as the same thing for Gemini powered code review and Imagen PixArt Maker. So if you want to just go ahead and make an app like that, you already can. And they already have some down here where it has the showcase, where it has a few different apps that if you want to make an app, you absolutely can. Where they have one that's like Humble Jumble, a playground to discover a range of creative video voices, and Gemini native audio out has an offer. And you see that he's using Gemini 2.5 Flash, Imagen, and the Live API. as well as you see here where it has live audio, where you can experience real-time voice chat with a 3D visual reacts to your conversations, bringing AI interactions to life, as well as Prompt DJ and a lot of different apps that are really cool. Some is using Lyra, some use the Gemini 2.5 Pro or 2.5 Flash, but also you can do one that's down here that's a P5JS Playground, where you can create AI coding partner for PS5.js chat generative games. And so I think this is a pretty cool example. So I'll go ahead and try to make one here. It says this one says make a simple animation, the background color. So you see it changing colors here. And now let's say you want to start from scratch, a bouncing ball with a square. Make sure you have handles, collision, da da da. All right, let's see. Can you make a two stick fighting game with stick figures? You have that thing running, and it will actually create the game within here. It says considering game mechanics, I'm deeply immersed in the concept of a stick fighting game. And you see it's already going ahead in creating the game and scoping out what's going to be made. But over here you see it has a code for the app. So if you want to remake this sandbox or this app right here, this would be what you would give it. It also has system instructions as you see here, where it says you're extremely proficient creative coding agent and you can code effects, games, generative art, write JavaScript code, assuming it's in a PS.js environment. So it has like all the prompts here. If you want to play around, even if you couldn't code, you can go in to see, play around with what you can and cannot do, or what's possible, and give you some ideas and inspirations. Where it has different types of code here and what's in here for you to be able to use. These are already some example prompts here, where we saw earlier where it had the bouncing yellow ball, and we saw that this was one of the prompts that were already preloaded that it could make. So I'm pretty sure it could make the bouncing yellow ball, but we'll see if it'll be able to make the fighting game. If it is a fighting stick game, that would be pretty cool. We see overall this code is 222 lines of code, which if you're new to coding may sound like a lot, and it is a lot, don't get me wrong, but it's not crazy unrealistic that you couldn't do this yourself. As well as here's the drop down menu where it gives you the index.css, the index.html, and then the tsx file. I think this is React. Anyway, so this is the file structure. So if you're really experienced with programming, you know exactly what this is. And then over here to the side, it has the code assistant, where the code assistant is optimized to work with Gemini model, Series, and Imagen. And so it's basically a way for you to help or get help when you're trying to build some of this stuff. So it says at the bottom here, make changes, add new features, ask for anything here. So maybe if you want to help or you're stuck on a certain part, you can just code with Gemini over here. And so over here is the hide code assistant. So if I click that, it'll hide that code assistant tab. Over here has hide code editor. So if I wanted to get rid of that code editor, I could. And this is hide preview. So if I want to get rid of the preview, but I don't want to get rid of the preview. And then you can also rename this to whatever you may want based on whatever you're building. So instead of it being a P5JS playground, I could rename this to a stick fighting game, which I'm pretty interested in to see how it turns out. This is also if you want to reload the app. So if you're playing around with it, you made changes, you can go ahead and reload it. As well as if you want to make the app full screen, you can. And if you like what you see in the playgrounds or what you made here, you can go ahead and copy this app code to your clipboard or download the app, or you can just go ahead and ship it right here to the deploy to cloud and share the app, or you already know the API key. Let's go ahead and full screen this thing and see what it has. It says press any key. I'm pressing keys. Oh, what? We got a fighting game on our hands. Little motion. It seems like it has some instructions over here. This is player one. Move to A, left, to right. Block W. Oh, the block is W. The punch is F. Oh, I see. Oh, it even has the hit animations. Oh, that's crazy. And it has the G for kick. I'm the orange guy. So I can kick with L, punch with K, and block with up arrow. So let's go ahead. Boom, boom, combo. And it even stops as you see at the top of the player one's actually losing health. Boom. Let's see what happens when the game's over. The player two win, game will start shortly. We did this all within AI Studios with a prompt. That's crazy. come back with. You see me creeping up on him, kick, oh punch, kick him. And it's such a low blow. Look where I'm kicking him at. I know he's gonna feel this tomorrow. Craziness. You can click the square to leave and come back. And we're going back to the build. And from the build, you can see what apps you have built, recent apps that I have open, where we see that I have the P5JS Playground open, as well as like queues of different, of course, frequently asked questions. And then over here is your history. So if you have any history here, you can come back here and look at your history. And that's basically it. When it comes to AI Studios, this is probably the deepest dive you're going to get when it comes to AI Studios, because not only am I an AI enthusiast, I'm also a developer who knows a good bit about code, YouTuber at that. So if you want to keep up with more tutorials, more AI news, you should definitely like and subscribe. But with that being said, your boy Dex from Dex AI Lab is out.